Safe for you and your family, and safe for flavor, Cosori sent me their TurboBlaze Air Fryer to go head-to-head with my beloved glass basket air fryer from Salton, with the explicit direction for me to share my honest experience. So I'm going to be as blunt as possible, while putting them both through real-life testing. The most air-fried food on the planet has got to be fries. Honestly, I usually prefer shoestring, but these were on sale, and in this economy, often that's my deciding factor. What in the shrinkflation? They shorted me a fry. Anyways, I have equal portions now. So for this one, I can't really just dump the fries in. They're all going to go in the bottom. So I'm going to kind of not be too careful, but pretty careful. Houston, we have a problem. You never want to pile on in an air fryer. So, to give the glass basket, aka the Salton Flip and Cook, the most fair chance, I gotta take away some. The Cosori's footprint's a bit bigger, so of course it has no problem accommodating all the fries. In fact, according to their recipe book, it can fit a lot more. I set both for 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 16 minutes. But the TurboBlaze claims to cook faster with their DC motor. Most air fryers use AC, that's alternating current, and it's an either on or off situation, whereas DC or direct current allows for more precise control. So I'm checking them both at 10 minutes. Let's take one from each to test. The TurboBlaze fry is crisp on the outside, fluffy on the inside. So the inside is perfect, but I do prefer a little more crispy. So I'm going to keep it going for a couple more minutes. The Flip and Cook fry is similar, just not quite as golden. Also, the inside is not quite cooked. Definitely needs a little more time, even though I set them to the same temperature. 2 minutes later, I think the TurboBlaze fries are done. Let's try. Oh, it's hot. More crispy now. And the inside is still fluffy and really good. 4 minutes later, in the glass basket, see what we have. They're a comparable shade of golden. There's a little unevenness because some of the fries ended up on top of each other, despite my best efforts, so they're closer to the heat element and browned a little faster. But honestly, who cares? I think that's totally fine. The outside is looking good, and tasting all right. Maybe borderline less crispy, but still really good. The inside, however, is a little dry. The faster cook time really did make a difference to crisp up the outside while retaining moisture inside. However, my issue is I think these fries are just not my favorite. I really should have bought the shoestring version I wanted originally. So let's move on to something manufacturers can't screw up. Something from nature. Namely, the vegetable I'm convinced is the most air-fried veggie on the planet outside of potatoes, broccoli. Again, I'm treating both batches the same. Same amount of broccoli. This time I made sure to use the amount that the slightly smaller glass basket could definitely handle. About 3 cups, or 180 grams. Same 7 grams of cooking oil. Shake it up to distribute. And seasonings. Onion powder, garlic powder, and salt. Shake again. And into the baskets. Spread out for even cooking. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of water to steam the broccoli so it cooks thoroughly even as it's roasting. And the Cosori gets the same, but there's a lot more room to spare. I'm imagining the possibilities for 1 basket meals for 2 now. For the glass, I'll do what I normally do. Pizza button, which is 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 minutes. And out comes my favorite weeknight roasted broccoli. You might look at this and think it's overdone. Nuh-uh! The texture is a mix of crispy, chewy, and tender crisp. Charred parts are roasty and extra delicious. Though I think maybe this particular broccoli was drier than normal to begin with because it's not normally this toasted. Still, it's tasty. The Cosori recipe book recommends 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 to 7 minutes for roasted broccoli, which will be great to test this high heat setting that most air fryers can't get up to. I check it at 5 minutes. Actually, it's already cooked through. Still juicy, very delicious, a little roasty. Those bits are again extra tasty, but I'm going to give it another 2 minutes to see if we can't get a little more. And that is really good. Still nice and green. A great balance of bright green, tender crisp doneness, and toasty bits. So maybe not quite as much browning as I usually prefer. Maybe a minute or 2 would work for that. But the more I eat these, the more I like them because they're juicier. And I know what you're thinking. Probably healthier. You know what else is healthy? High protein, low in fat tofu steaks. I mean extra firm tofu blocks, pressed, then marinated in soy sauce, tomato paste, liquid smoke, garlic, and more. This is my first time trying this recipe by School Night Vegan, which I'll link in the description. Like with all steaks, you want to preheat your air fryer. For the sizzle, this time I'm setting the same temperature. After 7 minutes, brush on a little bit of oil. Continue 3 more minutes, and they look beautiful. As I pull them off though, I noticed this version is a little softer. The Cosori cooked them a little firmer, it seems. Both are well done, tender on the inside, chewy on the outside, with a slight crisp around the edges. The Cosori TurboBlaze did make the tofu a wee bit firmer, with a little more crispness at the edge bits, though they are very comparable, especially after resting. And in case you were wondering, I would make this recipe again, but maybe simmer the tofu in the marinade instead of just letting it sit in the fridge. Speaking of the fridge, I had this in there just waiting for this moment. It's chocolate chip cookie time. The recipe is from allrecipes.com with just vegan subs, which I'll write in the video descriptions. And for the temperature, well, the recipe calls for 325 degrees Fahrenheit in the oven. As you may already know, usually taking the temperature 25 degrees lower and then shaving 20% off the bake time will convert a baking recipe for most air fryers. So that's what I'll do. Uh-oh. That is not a fair test, and the bottom is goopy. So I'm going to MacGyver something to make up for the difference and use the actual bake button. That gives me 320 degrees Fahrenheit for 13 minutes. For the Cosori, there's more room. Plus, I'm not sure how else to weigh down the parchment paper, so I'm going to bake 4 balls. Same temp, same time. And notice the fan speed automatically is a little bit lower. That's smart. Afterwards, other than a slight deformity from the parchment paper going wild, both sets look good. I let them cool for a few minutes, and both came out wonderfully. In this case, they took the same amount of time, and it's good that the TurboBlaze adjusted the fan speed for the baking mode because we don't want to have more moisture on the inside of these cookies. Speaking of moisture, I want to suck it out of these pineapple slices. Both of these air fryers have a dehydrating mode, which in my previous review, I said, seems pretty useless. And frankly, I still feel that way because how much is really gonna fit in these air fryer baskets? The Salton is smaller, so it's getting these smaller rings and pieces. The Cosori is larger, so it's going to get these slightly larger rings. Still, that's not a lot of rings, my friends. Honestly, I am skeptical of the usefulness. The Salton's lowest temp is 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which is probably fine for delicious tasting pineapple rings. But if you're drying anything more delicate, I foresee problems. The Cosori dehydrator mode goes down to a bit lower than that, which is good. Also, you can see the fan speed is adjusted down. Hey, maybe we can do our plant-based cultured cheeses in here. Will it cheese? We're going to have to test that in a future episode, so give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see that coming up. It also has an even lower temperature for proofing dough at 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is interesting. However, we are not breading today, we're dehydrating, so let's get it going. With the Cosori's fan on so low, it's whisper quiet. I can barely hear it. The Salton, however, does not have a variable speed, so it's really loud in comparison. I swear, in real life, the Salton's fan noise doesn't bother me at all when I'm air frying. Usually when you're air frying, it's just going to go on for 15, maybe 20 minutes tops. And usually only about like 50-55 decibels, so it's not very bothersome. But this is supposed to go on for 6 hours? So it is annoying, and I'm guessing not very energy efficient. So 6 hours later, both are looking dry. Both taste really good. I love dried pineapple. And the Salton pineapple rings are obviously more dry, which makes sense because the fan was running faster and giving it more airflow. The Cosori pineapple rings, though really delicious, are much more flexible. So if you wanted to get a comparable dryness, you just go on for longer, maybe. Though for both, it's the capacity for me. Like, all that time has passed, and I have a handful of rings. Great if it was gold, but we're talking pineapple. And usually when you're doing a dehydrating project, don't you need more space? Like, more space is more better, which is why I have the Cosori dehydrator. But maybe, if you don't have space for a full dehydrator, or maybe you're on a budget and you just happen to be waffling between getting a dehydrator or a new air fryer, this could be your all-in-one solution. And then also if it works for Willet cheese, that might be a game changer. Anyways, adding all these tests up, as a basic air fryer, the Cosori edges out an advantage by cooking faster, crisping the outside while retaining moisture for foods like fries, veggies, and tofu steaks. For baking, they're very comparable. Just a little easier layout for the Cosori due to the size and the very flat ceramic crisper plate. For dehydrating, the Salton was faster, but the Cosori wins in my opinion for being practically silent. Plus, the Cosori being more versatile as it has a wider temperature range, going as high as 450 degrees Fahrenheit and as low as 90 degrees Fahrenheit for proofing dough. According to their website, you can even ferment yogurt in there. But is it worth it? Is it reliable? The Salton Flip and Cook in day-to-day use, there's really no negatives except for the glass is pretty heavy and you want to be a lot more careful with it. The MSRP for the Salton Flip and Cook is $199. I think you're paying for it being pretty unique in the marketplace, the glass basket being the main thing. According to camelcamelcamel.com, a price history website I like to use, they rarely go on sale, and sometimes the price even jumps up. Personally, as a food content creator, being able to record the cooking process is priceless, so it's worth it to me. But then you present me with the TurboBlaze, which is $119 MSRP, and I still get to stay away from Teflon and PFAS with the ceramic plate and the basket. Dang, my friends, it's a way better deal for a home kitchen, or an RV kitchen, or a dorm, or the cabin. And looking at the price history, it's often going on sale for about $90. So you can scan the QR code on screen now to check out the current price or find the link in the description box. Thanks again to Cosori for sending me their TurboBlaze and having the confidence in their own products to sponsor this honest comparison review. Both products will be linked below so you can check them out. Bye for now!